Hello, good evening, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to the Battle Poker League Season 1 tournament. My name is Concordia. I'll be your host tonight, and I'll be joined by Toffee Man and Bot D, who will be doing the primary casting tonight. So before we get into the action, we want to go over the tournament structure. It is pretty similar to the inaugural tournament that we ran at the end of January, but there are some changes. There's an extended format that we'll quickly go over. But as before, it is a completely free to play and participate tournament, 32 players. But instead, we will be doing this over a 2-day period, tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight, we will be doing the qualification round, which again will be 4 tables of 8 players each. All the tables will be playing 2 rounds using the standard arcade rules, and the top 4 scoring players will move on to day 2. The points awarded was the same as our inaugural tournament. 10 points for first place, 8 points for second, 6 points for third, and then 5 on down for the remaining spots. Day 2 will have semifinals and the finals. The semifinals will be 2 rounds using the standard arcade rules and using the same points system as tonight. And then we will have a final table with the top 4 players from each of the semifinals with a $200 cash prize awarded to the top 4 players of the final table. So, Bati and Toffee Man, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on the changes to our tournament structure and this extended system? Do you think, how do you think this is going to play out?
Right.
So
Sorry. Yeah. Well, this is Toppy, man, and yeah, I think it's going to make it for a more interesting tournament. Certainly, we're going to see a lot more of advancement out of the first round, and a lot more of cutting the tables in half. So I think we're going to see a little bit more, maybe a little more conservatism, but I think you're going to see those first and second place positions become pretty prized in order to hit that next round. How about you, Batti?
I don't know. We'll see about that conservative play. I feel like the meta lately has gotten a lot more aggressive. A lot of these newer players are picking up on the poker tendencies and starting to play a lot more hands, a lot more aggressively, and I think that's going to carry over to our tournament tonight. So I'm eager to see some chips fly.
All right,
All
with that,
right.
yeah, let's move on to the changes.
Yeah, so we have a couple, or not more than a couple, several changes to announce that have been made over the past several months, at least since the inaugural tournament. The first one to mention is that the starting stacks have been increased from 100 to 125. More generally, the AI system that governs the combat has been overhauled to try to make battles a little bit smoother, and I know our casters will discuss that a little bit more. Suited cards, so that means that if you have 2 cards of the same type, like say 2 Protoss units or 2 Terran units, you will now get a automatic 1/1 upgrade for those units up to +3/3 max. So you can't get 4/4 if you got lucky, but you can still get a nice little boost from that. And then there's also 10 extra seconds of battle per player beyond the second. So there's a little bit of extended playtime for longer pots. So Toffee Man and Bati, I wonder if you could break down, discuss some of these changes and how it might impact the games that we see tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So Batti, how do you think the starting stack increase is going to change the way we play? I'm seeing 25% more chips. Everybody's going to get more hands to see, have more antes in their stack. Do you think we're going to see a little more skill expression, a little more picking your right spots today?
Absolutely. Just with that little bit of extra chips, it gives you just that little bit more time, a little bit of breathing room before you have to make that final desperate all-in play. So just with those few extra chips, it's going to give more players more chances to see more hands, and we're not going to see too much of an effect on as far as like making the game take longer to complete.
Absolutely. And I think another thing something that I like as well is I think if you look at the second and the fourth changes, I kind of group them together in my head because to me the number one thing or the number takeaway from these two changes, the AI system and the 10 extra seconds of battle, is I think we're going to see less drawn pots today than we did in the last tournament.
For the most part, I agree with that. You definitely don't see quite as many drawn pots as you used to. The new AI system has better target finding, so you don't have as many issues as like units that are on the outside of the arena just being stuck there and being ignored by units that are floating around in the middle of the arena. You still get a little bit of some weird interactions with the new spellcaster AI, as spellcasters like to run away from their targets. So you don't have as many instances as ravens blowing themselves up, for example. But especially with the new AI and then the little bit of extra time for larger pots, you're not going to see quite as many split pots as you used to.
Right. Yeah, and to that point, I think we might see maybe more of a premium on some of those spellcaster units than we did last tournament. But also, I think the third change here, the suited cards and the same race thing, that the +1/+1 upgrade bonus. Are there any units that you see that really benefit from this change?
Well, as I've always said, any of the units that have a high attack rate and a low damage count, such as Zerglings, Marines, Void Rays, they're going to benefit a lot damage-wise from those small upgrades. For example, a Zergling getting just +1/+1, that's a 20% damage output bonus for it. Of course, you still have things like battle cruisers and carriers with a lot of armor. So any extra armor is just going to make them impervious to those little kind of annoying shots like that. So it's definitely a game changer. It takes some hands that normally wouldn't be playable and gives them just that little extra oomph to make them something that you might want to put some chips in the pot with.
All right, sounds good. So with that, let's take a look at our tables today. All right. So Bati, I think we're seeing on table one in our very first slot, we have our reigning champion, Pwn Ranger. Anyone else to look out for at this table?
Well, I've got to say, as much as I love Pwn Ranger, I don't think he's going to be the favorite today. He's been taking an extended break from the game. He's got his own little personal business going on right now, and it's been taken off. So props to him for that. But he just hasn't had time to play, and I feel like he might have fallen behind a little bit. But anything's possible. We'll see what happens. As far as table one, definitely look out for Sympathy and Zorminter. Zorminter has been one of our top ELO players for quite a while now. Fancy Hippo has also been taking a little bit of a break, but he's coming back strong, and he's always been a threat. So I feel like he's definitely got a chance at this table.
All right. So moving on to table two, maybe one of our feature tables for the day. Is there anyone here you consider at the top of the ELO tables, or maybe a dark horse who's not exactly sure? We're not exactly sure what they could bring to the table today.
Man, the only dark horse I see at this table is Roland's. I'm just not familiar with them. I haven't played with them, so I can't really comment on their play. But everybody else at this table is a threat, absolutely. Keep an eye out for Scaro, Sanja, Frostacles, Reach, of course, Drunk Archon. I mean, anywhere you look, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, looks like a table of killers. So looking at table three, even we see old standby Baddick games amongst others.
Yep, and I have to say, Bad at Games has definitely upped his game. He is no longer bad at Battle Poker. He is actually our number one reigning ELO player at the moment. So he is definitely a threat to be looked out for. We have Sweet Tea Turtle, who has been doing pretty well lately. Goofman's been talking a big game as well. Definitely some threats here at table three.
And last but not least, table four. Who do we like here?
Illas, man. I know I gave him the caster curse last time around. I'm gonna give it to him again this time. I think he's a threat. He's always been a threat. He stays at the high 1900s in the ELO. Vendettius has been doing really well. Omor, of course. Good to see you. Has been sticking around with us for a while. He's been playing a lot, doing really well. One thing to note under table four, Mr. Get Bluff down at the bottom is actually PSU from our first tournament, just with the name change.
Oh yeah, good to see you, PSU, and or welcome to Get Bluffed. And I was gonna say, Bati, I was gonna let you get away with the caster curse thing today. I wasn't gonna bring it up. I was gonna be nice, but now that you brought it up, we'll see if it continues today.
We'll see how bad it is.
All right, so let's see if we can start transitioning to our games. So I think the lobbies are currently created and games are getting started. So we'll be hopping in as soon as we can. So I think we're jumping in first to table two today, as we said, our feature table. What are we expecting to see at this table? Who are we expecting to maybe jump out and start providing some pressure early on?
Oh man, it's already switched off. I don't remember who everybody was at the table. Let me pull the list back up real quick.
Have to test your memory there real quick, just to make sure
Yeah.
you knew, make sure you remember who we were looking at. Yeah.
Well, if we remember from the first tournament, Sanja made our final table, and even with the 300 chip stack, he was out in 9 hands. So he might be willing to make a little splash early here and get some chips flying right off the bat.
All right. Well, let's see. Looks like we're in the game and we're starting our betting. It's looking like, or in this case, starting our checking. Not much to speak of in the early first cards here.
Welcome to the Scaro and Friends table. Might be more of a talkative table this time around. I know there wasn't a whole lot of talking during our first tournament, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like, we got an early race from Clockwork on these on his units, and a call from Sunshine as well.
Sunja with the 16 High Templars definitely playable for only one big bet more, and especially when we're still at just a 1 ante. You got plenty of chips to play with. Might as well take a second card, see if you can get something to pair with those High Templar pretty well. I like Clockwork's Rays with the Swarm Hosts. You still want a multi-way pot with those Swarm Hosts. They do really well staying back, kind of staying out of the way, just sending those Locusts in to fight for them. But getting a little bit more money in the pot is never a bad thing, as well as kind of filtering out the riffraff, the hands that don't really deserve to be in the pot. You don't want to give them a free chance at drawing an extra card, getting something that's going to knock your hand out.
Absolutely. All right, so we got 3 callers. Looking like big marine count for Kira here.
Big marine count might be playable. I disagree with putting the marines in front. You usually want the marines to be the second ones into the fight. Even with their stutter stepping, you want to give them a chance to not get blown out of the sky before they get any damage in.
Oh, I think we saw a great example of that from the storms there, as well as the fire, the fire that just tore apart those marines.
I don't think there's going to be I don't think there's going to be enough storm to take out these queens, and with the locusts behind them, I think we're still going to be looking at a split pot.
Hey, do you think the queens have what it takes to get the damage in? Yep, 10 seconds left.
Maybe it's going to be close. Here come the locusts. Just don't quite have. Oh wow!
Big win.
Nail biter for the first pot.
You gotta love that infused micro, man. It really saves those queens. The energy going out almost as exactly when you need it to, and really makes them super tanks in this format.
And we potentially already have a huge pot brewing. Aldous Koze starting up here with 8 carriers. Frosticles opening up with 20 ravens. This is potentially going to be a big pot.
Yeah, there's some big time units here. I'm scared to see how this goes. And then, of course, you love to see the wild card. Me personally, I can't resist even playing the wild card when I get it, because I just need to know, like, well, what is it? Am I gonna win? You know,
I've had some exceptionally good rolls with wild cards lately. I've been doing really well with them. They've won me some MMR.
So it looks like we got a raise from these carriers, and that's not gonna knock 20 ravens out of the game, I don't imagine, though. Clockwork, I think here, maybe playing, maybe bringing his knife to this gunfight. Okay, so big raise from the 20 Ravens, and looking at, I mean, it has to be said, a near perfect hand for Frosticles.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't hurt getting a little bit more count on those queens, but still 16 queens, 20 ravens. I mean, how high do you want to bet? It's just a matter of how much money you want to try to make off of your opponent. Unfortunately, Aldous Koze only getting the 9 Mutalisks. It's not going to be a huge increase.
Instant call.
Insta call.
Bet, though. For that 43 bet, that's a wild call.
Smart putting the Mutalisks in front. They take the first wave of Raven hits, although it looks like there's plenty of Raven shots left to take out the carriers.
Oh, that hurt to watch. Oh no.
He's still doing some work. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. Unlucky to run into that, just the 20 Raven monster.
I mean, sometimes you just run into Ravens. What can you do?
That is too rough. That I felt bad. Like third hand through that. That was rough, man. All right. Well, back to the game. Let's see. Frosticles feeling himself after that big win. coming out with the raise in this pot. What do you think?
It looks like
11 Phoenix?
11 Phoenix, not bad. I'm looking at those 17 Queens from Driss and gonna see how he's gonna play those. What did he pick up? 8 Cyclones, and we have Clockwork suited with the 8 Thors.
I mean, those are basically the 2 heavy-duty Terran units, right? You got the Thor
Yeah.
and Battlecruiser. You got land and air.
Unfortunately, only the one Battlecruiser, but we'll see how he plays it.
Yeah, not really calling
Besides
on the
the
fleet
check.
there. He needs...
Frosticles putting some more money in with his 14 Lurkers.
Yeah, I think Frosticles is really feeling himself. I mean, this is...
And we have a 3-way.
But
Thors are going to do some work. They can't be lifted by those Phoenix, so that's not going to be an issue. I think the Thors are actually going to take it down here.
Yeah, it's looking like the Thors are punching through, and I think they're also like especially good against the Queens and the armored units of coming through from Driss here. These Thors are just absolutely monstrous right now.
Thor's one of the few units that can actually cut through Queens efficiently, even with all the automatic healing they have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that extra damage against the armored units really coming in clutch there. I don't even think he lost a Thor. They're all still standing there like nothing happened.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then just like that, Clockwork comes in with another 7 Thors.
Yep. Sunzo with the 64 is that 64 or 84? Looks like 84 Banelings. Definitely going to see a second card with that.
Yeah, you got to play those Banelings. So this is where one of the things that I find when I'm playing, if I have a hand like Banelings, I'm betting to get other people out. I want one opponent at most, and I think that's what we're getting here. 84 Banelings coming in against these Thors.
With the High Templar.
Oh.
Gonna save it. Well, we're gonna save at least one of the Thors. I mean, think the Vikings are gonna go down. I think the Vikings are gonna go down.
That's just too many Templars. That's just too many. Yeah, that was more of a. That's a classic in StarCraft where it's like I have the units that are kind of better than yours in this fight, but you have, 50 more than me. You have 50 more food than me. It doesn't matter if my unit counters yours. It's just straight crash.
That's why we say it is important to get as close to that 50 supply cap as you can on each card. Obviously, you're not going to get there every time. There has to be some kind of wiggle room as far as like what's your minimum that you're willing to play, but the closer you can get there, the better.
Absolutely. And I think we're seeing, again, another couple hands that might be seeing some play. We got a raise and then a re-raise by Alders here.
Jose having the 12 Ravens. Sanja playing his 10 Void Rays with the Protoss +1/+1. Scaro also in there with the 16 Stalkers.
You gotta like Stalkers in this game. They got that AI perfect blink micro. But
oh yeah, it's beautiful to watch. Like even if it's not always quite the most effective thing, like when you're getting blasted by battle cruisers and you keep blinking back, and it's like, no, just stay there, keep fighting them, you'll be okay. It's just beautiful to watch.
I know when I see it, just from my StarCraft days, I see these things blinking away. All I can think is, oh God, get back here! I need to kill you now. You can't stop running. I need this. But yeah, I think pretty strong second card draws for each of the players too. This is it's looking like a hand that we might be seeing a community pot here.
I'm liking Scaro's hand. I feel like he should be putting some more chips in with this, with the 15 Banshees and 16 Stalkers. Decides just to call, also an okay play.
Scared away by the multiple callers in front of him, do you think?
Quite possibly. I personally have started playing Banshees a little bit more aggressively. They're really good for cutting down a lot of the ground units before they even get revealed. So it depends on everybody's playstyle. A lot of people still aren't that big on Banshees.
It looks like Alder's suited Terran Raven Liberator combo is just too much to bear. All right, so now we're going quickly to our overview screen. So we're seeing so let's get a quick look at all the different tables, how the gold's stacking up right now. Looks like table 1, we got Sympathy up at first, and Pwn Ranger, of course, doing well because Bati said he wouldn't. How about table 2 we've been looking at? So, Buddy, what do you think about table 3 going on right now? Looks like Jam's really gotten in with the big pot early.
Jam doing well. Clasher is up there. Sylvanas, I forgot to mention. I know she's been a pretty big threat lately. Coming in third place. Goofman looks like he's just kind of biding his time, taking his time. So give him a little bit. He'll show up. And of course we have the Caster's Curse once again, bad at games, down to next to last place. I'm hoping that his first place on the leaderboard is enough to overcome the Caster's Curse, but we'll see.
All right, and it's looking like table 4. You got your Caster's Curse. Looks like it's being reversed. That's it's Killer's on top of the table right now.
Well, it's still anybody's game. It's still pretty early, so we'll wait to see how things develop. But so far, so good for Killas, at least.
Yeah, looking good there. I think it's good to go back. Let's go back into table 2. We're seeing a couple good hands there. It looks like Clockwork was that Reach Beyond just pulled down a big one. So was this? Maybe I missed this before. I think while we were away, Clockwork must have pulled the big pot because he's sitting top of the table now.
Definitely, must have.
Interesting.
Here we're still looking at a family pot all the way around. Everybody got a second card. Clockwork with 45 Marines. Sanja waking up with 22 Mutalisks. Frosticles, though, with 22 DTs. Let's see how he plays these.
Yeah, Frosticles went straight in with those DTs. You love to see it. He knows what's up. You want to play this game, you got to pay.
The Driss rating it up with the Tempests.
Interesting Tempest call here. I mean, looks like a classic split pot here. These Tempests are going to take up.
Yeah, Tempests have been coming back into favor lately. Besides the fact that they counter a lot of top tier units, they tend to hang back, and fights that they can't finish, they're usually pretty safe from. So they're a pretty valuable unit to have. It's totally okay to play them in that manner, I think.
So to me, Tempests, they're like the opposite of the Baneling. If I'm playing a Tempest hand, I want a lot of people in that hand because I want
Definitely.
my Tempest back. I want I want other people's units to run in to fight each other. My Tempest in the back taking pot shots, lowering everyone's health, and then
exactly
much easily and effectively cleaning it up at the end. All right. Well, in this case, looks like we got a race here from Scaro. He's sitting on a nice Viking count here, 23.
It looks like there's not really anybody except maybe for Driss that can give him any sort of resistance. Driss does make the call with his 12 swarm hosts. We'll see what develops from here. I don't really see anybody else calling.
Yeah, so this might be like a quick heads up. But Frosticles, I don't know. Giving up those 10 wild cards, like I said, if that was me, I'm all in on those babies.
And the thing with wild cards is that you really want as many of them as you can get to give you the chance of rolling those super high value units. It always feels great when you go in with 6 wild cards and 4 of them end up being battle cruisers, but the odds of that happening are slim to none. So you're better off going in with the 25 wild cards, maybe still be able to roll the 4 battle cruisers and then a few other nice units to go on top.
For sure. Yeah, I almost wanted to micro those infestors there. Don't you got Vikings to take care of the Colossi. You don't need to do anything.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunately one of the things with auto battlers that a lot of people forget. You have to learn how to play around the AI. You can't expect just to have perfect AI in every situation because that's just impossible to program. The AI does the best that it can in generalized circumstances, and sometimes you get a little bit of weird behavior, and you just kind of have to chalk it up to a learning experience and say, hey, I know what's going to happen next time with that.
And honestly, I think part of the skill of the game is knowing what the AI is going to do and trying to build pots and battles that help you, that are, that the AI is in your favor rather than your opponent's. So
yeah, absolutely.
So knowing that and playing the AI out is definitely a good skill to have in this game.
All right, we see the antes getting higher here. We're up to 4 chips per round. Scaro with 15 queens, Clockwork with 12 immortals, and Aldous Koze with the 19 corruptors. Scaro gets a great second card with his 7 battle cruisers. It'll be interesting to see what he plays here. Aldous Cozy with a small raise to 16. He's feeling pretty good with the Zerglings, but if those Banelings come along, or no, I'm sorry, with the Zealots, but if the Banelings come along, he's not going to be too happy.
No, no, sir. I mean, Baneling's easily hard countering those bio units. I mean, if I'm Clockwork, I love this hand. I counter your bio units, I counter your armored units. I'm happy. This is great.
Scar recognizing the value of those battle cruisers and betting big, taking out both of the other players from the pot.
No, absolutely. And I think the only problem there, and the one that he would have ran into with that Baneling Immortal hand, is we don't shoot up.
Yeah.
And Scaro getting in there with his air units, easily taking it down.
I always make the joke that I want Banelings to be able to rocket jump each other into the air so they can take out air units.
No, it's like you just want that Immortal to fall down so those rockets go up in the air, Well, right now we got Frostqueez with an early raise. You gotta like Driss's call of 8 with those 18 DTs.
But now here comes the question: is he going to play into the Oracles since he only got the one Hydralisk in the second card? Is he going to play just the DTs and try to win with that, or is he going to make a sensible fold?
Yeah, I mean, unlucky for Driss, kind of hit a dud on that second card, and he immediately raised and got called out.
He gets the bad news.
Oh no! Yeah, lets his feelings be known in the chat as well. Yeesh, ran into the hard counter.
You have to remember that for every player in the pot, there's roughly a 30% chance of them having a counter to DTs. So the more players that are in the pot, obviously, the higher that chance gets. Even with only 2 players, you're already at less than 50% chance of winning. So you have to kind of look at your situation chip-wise and decide whether or not that gamble is worth it.
Yeah, so... Alright. Looks like Get Bluffed all in there. One of our players from last tournament as well, and it looks like he all in but survived and is now doubled up and top and chipped stack leader at the table.
The chip lead, sometimes one hand is all it takes.
Yeah, you gotta like that. It was a classic Protoss versus Terran matchup there, and again, as a Terran player, if I see Marauders and Battle Cruisers, I'm thinking this is great against Stalkers and Oracles, or not Oracles, excuse me, Tempests in that battle. But looks like the counts did him in.
Bluff just woke up with 8 battle cruisers and decides to pop it up to 71 in an unraised pot. That's definitely more than a pot-sized bet. He's making a pretty big overbet. I don't know if he actually thinks this is for value or if he just wants to take down the antes and have a little bit of a hand as a backup in case he gets called. But he does go ahead and successfully take the antes down.
I kind of like that kind of play. So you win a big hand like that, and then you get kind of a medium to good hand on the next one. You're the stack lead now. Don't you just want to just say like I have all the chips now. I'm going in. Like you have to play my game now. It's basically stamping yourself on the table, saying I'm the guy now. I'm the one running the show.
To an extent, you absolutely can play a more aggressive style and kind of take control of the table, make everybody play your game. But there's a teetering point. If you go too aggressive too fast, it's going to be very easy for anybody with a hand to recognize what you're doing and take you out and bring you right back down. So you have to, I think I mentioned something like this back in the first tournament. You have to push your opponents to the point where they almost fight back, but not quite.
So the best fold is the one your opponent isn't sure if they're going to do.
Yeah, anytime you can put your opponents to a tough decision, they're more likely to make mistakes. When you're making these little small bets and you're doing it consistently, it becomes very easy to just say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for a big hand and I'm going to re-raise big. Unfortunately, that doesn't always work out because if your opponent is also paying attention, they're going to notice that you just shut down for the last 6-7 hands that they raise. When you finally try to pop them back, they're just going to go, oh, he has a hand this time. I'm just going to fold. So again, you have to kind of ride that edge of playing marginal hands so you can still get paid off on your big hands, but not playing into your opponent's strategy too much if you can help it.
Absolutely.
All right, why don't we move over to another multi-table? We've had some action. Zorminter's in a tough spot on table 1. Why don't you guys take over? Take a look and give me your impressions of where we're at right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, I think we did have Zormenter tagged as one of the favorites going into this, and he's kind of looking like a bit in trouble here with that small stack.
You could see right there in the chat, he was just complaining about his card selection. Looks like he might be getting a little tilted in this game already.
I mean, you hate to see that sort of tilt in all chat, even in these sorts of games, and especially if I'm trying to play. I don't want my opponents to know if I'm tilted. I like table talk, but at some point, if I'm thinking, oh, now I have like almost a bit of a tell, which I'm saying, hey, I'm displeased with how things are going. That's something I try to keep to myself because I don't want everybody else to know that that's happening. How about you, Bati?
I'm sorry, I just got distracted a little bit. My wife just got home.
No problem. I was just saying, Zormenter was saying in all chat, kind of complaining about his card selection. He's one of the low stacks right now at this table one. Thinking, is that really the best or most strategic thing to do? Is complain in all chat, or because if I'm sitting on that sort of frustration, yeah, I'm not letting anybody know.
Absolutely, your best play is to shut up, sit down, and keep playing your A game. We don't really talk a whole lot about tilt, I don't think, but unfortunately, it's something that does happen at the table, and it's something that the best poker players are able to control at the table. Unfortunately, this isn't this isn't like people putting their own money in the line, so people kind of react differently when you have money like that on the line, like when you're playing regular poker at a casino versus playing just for a free roll like we're doing tonight. But still, tempers can flare. You got to be careful.
I'm having some complaining in chat about some shorting of the hand. I'm not actually sure what happened. It's a little hard to go back and see, but seems like we also had a timeout. Very interesting shenanigans happening on this table, I would say.
Yeah, it's looking like Bago here, the short stack of the table, might have had a timeout issue. But I'm not seeing him chat at all, so I'm not sure if it's it seems to me like it might be a true timeout. It looks like he's currently sitting out his hands, and the antes being what they are, he doesn't have many hands to sit out before it's too late.
Well, I hope he didn't just decide to give up. One thing I was going to mention with the whole tilt conversation is that with our format, losing your first game does not mean that you're out, kind of like it did in our first tournament. With that first tournament, having to aim for top 2, it was really difficult if you didn't have a good first placing in the first game. But with us taking the top 4 now to move on, you can end up with a 7th or 8th place finish. And if you can pull it back and win in the second game, then you definitely have a shot at moving on. But again, you got to keep that composure. If you have a bad first game, you can't let it affect you too much.
I totally agree, and I think, I mean, it won't surprise me at all to see a couple players today who come in 7th or 8th in the first game who turn it around with a big game 2 and are able to advance just based on the strength of a first or second place finish in game 2.
Well, we have Bago going all in now with his 47 Reapers. Oh, unfortunate luck.
Oh, you hate to see it. Yeah, well, looks like he's got a couple people willing to see what he's got in those cards there.
This might be the I think the first elimination that we're gonna see.
We'll see. He's getting the GLs from the table. Ooh, you like that from Metalcore to come in hot with that raise, even though we already have somebody all in, and that puts Mademoiselle Pooh all in as well.
Ms. Pooh calls all in with the 21 Hellbats and the 10 Liberators. I think those Liberators are going to do all right. If they can deal with the Tempest, they should be able to take out the Queens as long as they don't get too distracted, kind of like they are right now. Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Just carnage going on all over the place. Liberators not quite doing what they should be. They siege up just a little bit too late. Those Altars and Queens come through for the win.
Yeah, I think Miss Pooh also seeing that didn't exactly go as planned. So it looks like we got 2 out on that pot.
And one thing to showcase here are new kill animations whenever you knock somebody out of a pot. your avatar walks over and takes them out, so to speak.
Oh dear, very brutal. Especially for a ghost who I'm pretty sure didn't need to move to kill either of those two units.
Yeah, I don't think they need to get up to point blank to be able to kill somebody. So
really went for that no scope on the sniper.
All right, should we check in on other tables too, real fast? See if anyone else has been eliminated in this time.
Oh, yeah. Looks like we got one out at every table here. Table 2, we're missing Scar, who's fans, I'm sure. Poor Scar's fans were watching.
The Scaro army.
Scaro's in, and maybe we could hop to table 2. Looks like we have an all in there and an all in on table 3. So either one would be pretty good to see. Looks like Alder's all in on 45 with his Phoenix Queen comp here.
Oh no, and he's running into Liberators and Carriers. That's gonna be rough.
Yeah, this is tough for them. It's looking like the Queens are getting some damage in, and hopefully these Interceptors though. You hate to see the Carriers are like just the perfect unit, man. They just sit back, let these little guys do their jobs for them. It doesn't even matter.
Oh man, there they go.
Yeah.
And Alder's Code out in 7th place. Clockwork taking the hit. Let's take a moment to point out Driss sitting on half the money in this game right now at this table.
Was just gonna bring that up too. Seeing that Driss at a 500 stack is kind of wild. We must have missed a big one while we were gone.
Sitting on 50 bets right now, whereas everybody else, Frosticles at 22 bets, Clockwork at 10, Kira and Sunja at less than that. So, I mean, it's going to be time for them to make a move here pretty soon. Sunja actually just getting dealt Dark Templar. This might be the hand where he goes all in.
Yeah, you got to think so. I think Reach Beyond and Sunja both kind of on low stacks and both getting hands that are all-in worthy. Yeah, but the problem is Kira also sitting here with 14 Ravens.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a hand. A lot's going to come down to what we roll on those wild cards by Reach Beyond. Unfortunately for Sunja, this is probably going to be his last hand of this game. Well, he's still got 9 chips left, so it's going to depend on if he actually goes all in.
I would say if I'm Sunja, I'm checking and hoping that Reach Beyond gets knocked out here to get another point. Because it looks like Sunja is all in now.
Yep, then all in now.
Made the call. I guess if somebody bet it. I didn't miss that somebody bet in front of him, but yeah, you gotta stay in, right? At this point,
absolutely, you're pod committed at that point. When you put in 80% of your stack, the other 20% is not. Yeah, it's going in.
I gotta say, these wildcard units actually tore through that fight.
Look at that roll: a carrier, a battle cruiser, Thor's siege tank. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, that's like rolling 2 D20 and getting like a 38. Like that was incredible. He had every unit you want in that wild card. So nice pickup for Reach Beyond.
Kira all in with her 5 carriers. Clockwork maybe contemplating a call with the 42 Marines. Nope, not gonna do it.
So I guess I was wrong before. It might have been just my poor old eyesight, but it looks like Sunja is now all in and it's still alive here. All right, so we got Sunja and Kira all in.
Unfortunately, those 5 Ravens are just not going to be enough to take down the carriers. 15 Queens. I don't know what's gonna. I know what's gonna happen now. Oh my goodness! I did not think those Ravens were going to be enough.
Wait,
but
is this Driss? I mean, Driss has to get it.
Driss just took it down. Yeah.
So that's Kira and Sunship both out, down to 4 at this table.
GG's all around. We are down to 4.
Oh no! Oh, don't do it! Don't do it to him! Oh, you gotta love it.
And there goes Kira.
I like that slow right turn. Like he walked straight up and then he just did a slow turn with the 2 guns. Oh, really added to the drama of the moment.
So it looks like we have our top 4 figured out for table 2. We've had some more developments on the other tables. For example, on table 1, we've had Zorminter knocked out.
Oh no, not again.
Not again.
it appears we also had some action in table 3, some all-ins happening over there. Maybe we can just go to multi-table real fast. Take a peek at where
you got like you gotta like seeing Pawn Ranger as so it looks like table 4 we got 2 all-ins right now, but you gotta like Pawn Ranger at the stack.
number
Hop
one.
over to table 4 real fast.
Oh, Bad at Games. Here we go, Bad.
Bad back on top. All right. Pastor's Curse, maybe not quite a thing this time around. We'll see.
And an all-in at table 1 now. All right. Yeah, so
Let's take a look at table 4 real fast. Let's see that.
See that table 4. Oh, it's about to end, and it's looking like a split pot there. So Big Vic is still in.
Ruark all in now with 7 battle cruisers, so probably going to be sticking around.
Not the worst hand to be pot committed to is a 7 battle.
Not at all. If I could get 7 battle cruisers every time I was stuck going all in, man, my MMR would be through the roof right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Killa's making, well, I was about to say a questionable call, then I realized he was only calling 6 more, so never mind.
Right, here we go. We got the this is an interesting one. All these air units should be hopefully able to take out these Colossi pretty quickly. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. This is going to be a win for Ruark.
Yeah, it has to be Big Vic sitting on the one Banshee. Can't do anything against this Terran Air Squad. GG. Nice pick up, Ruark. Back in the game a little bit.
Ruark with a little bit of a stack and 20 High Templar this time.
Oh. If you're Ruark and you're on the button, so you're like for your first act here, you're sitting on 20 High Templars. It's like, man, I hope so. I'm gonna check. I check call anything there. I'm like, this is it. Anybody who bets here, I'm in. This is my chance to double up again.
I mean, with the blinds as high as they are, he's really only looking at about 5 hands before he's stuck going all in again. So the sooner you can get it in, the more fold equity you have. Unfortunately, he's the one that had to fold this time around.
Oh, interesting. Get bluffed. Pushing Ruark off the table. Wow. Get bluffed. Even giving, I like that preemptive good luck, assuming the call. No, that's some of those like mind games that you can really get into. Yeah, of course you're calling. Good luck.
Oh,
and
man.
And then complimented him on the fold, although, I don't know, might have been a closer hand than Get Bluffed thinks.
Could have been. Oh, Ghosts and Infestors. What a rough start. And then there go all of the High Templar. They're going to have time to get one round of Storms off, but just not enough.
Those Storms, you got to hope those Storms hit real good against that comp. It's just, Ghosts too much.
And there goes Big Vic. Oh, we haven't gotten to see the Knight yet. Oh, that's cool.
I like that. Oh, man. Alright, it's down to 5 on table 4 here.
Alright, it looks like we're going to have Corruptor versus Phoenix this time around. Both players with a good enough count to play, absolutely.
I mean, this is Ruark. That's almost Ruark's whole stack. He's got to be thinking all in or fault here. Yeah. No, he didn't play it.
Wow. I can't believe he found a fold there. I would absolutely play those Corruptors in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, given where he's at, you'd think that this is the time, you know?
Get Bluffed is going to have a rude awakening when Etten plays his Ghosts here.
I like that. I like that Get Bluffed is trying to egg on Ruark, and in fact, he's going to be just running into this Ghost Squad.
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a bit much. Get Bluffed.
That's 10 Tempests.
That's a lot of Tempests, man. That's too many.
I don't know if those Ghosts can cut through a lot of capital ships, but I don't know if it's going to happen this time. We do have the Terran +1/+1, and they are suited, so those Ghosts are actually 2/2. I don't know. With the EMP, it might be enough.
This is looking closer than I thought it would be.
I tell everybody, Ghosts are good units. Ghosts are good units.
They do more damage.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. They got it, right? They have to have it. The problem is there's just too many. The Tempest.
Oh, wow.
they have that long range attack, but it's only one. It's one slow shot at a time. So 21 is just too many ghosts. Easy win, Brett. All right. Well, now we're down to 4. Let's see if we can jump over actually to the multi-table view. See what we're looking at across the board. It looks like.
Oh no, Driss about to finish off table 2. It looks like.
Yeah, I think maybe let's jump back to table 2, see if we can get a little heads up or 3-man action. Driss, hopefully, or Driss, not hopefully, but looking like he's about to take down this table.
Rostocles with a strong hand. Unfortunately, he's only got 8 chips in the pot, so the best he's going to walk away with is 24 here, which will be 1 bet. He's going to have some work to do if he wants to come back in this game.
And it's looking like you're seeing a bit of a team effort. Both Driss and Reach Beyond are more interested in making sure Frostocles is out than betting between each other. That said, I don't think Frostocles is going to be sitting anytime soon with this sort of hand.
No, he should be okay. We're just waiting to see if we can get one more round of Raven shots to go off on those Ultralisks.
Any more Hunter Seeker missiles? Anyone? Bueller? Oh, no.
So one of the smaller changes I don't think we addressed is that there's also a very small wait if a spellcaster is close to having enough energy to cast one of their spells. The game will wait a few extra seconds to give it that little bit of time. There it goes. So have one more alive, and here come 3 more. Or is it gonna finish in time? Yeah, easy peasy. And Frostocles back with 24 chips. Let's see what happens.
You got like that dramatic finish. We haven't had as many of those this time around as we did last time.
Just that little bit of extra time to give him that one more shot, Is it gonna happen? Is it not? All right, Frostocles all in.
All in again this time.
Those Thors are going to be a little bit of a problem for him, I do believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an easy call for pod leader, for stack leader Driss, right? This is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You call if Frostocles goes all in here, you call with any single first card, just for the chance that you spike like Ravens or something on your second one.
For sure. And these Thors are, they're unkillable.
Yeah, Thors are definitely going to take it down here.
Yeah.
GG to Frostocles, 3rd place, first table.
Yeah,
first round, rather.
Yeah, first round. I think if you saw the way the point structure worked as well, evaporated that poor abomination. I think you saw the way the point structure worked too. That you basically get a quote unquote bonus point for second, right? Where
correct.
So you get 8 points for second and 10 for first. So congrats to Reach and to Driss, both getting at least 1 bonus point here, maybe a second one for taking down the whole thing. And we might be seeing Reach's death throws here. Although maybe
I was about to say, I don't know how this plays out with all of those Zerglings with +1/+1. They might be able to pull this off.
And it's not the Zerglings that I'm afraid
of.
It's these Thors tearing through these Immortals like there's
yeah,
nothing. Of course.
We have plenty of Immortals left over. The Zerglings just not enough to distract the Immortals and the Adepts.
The second the Immortals realize that they should be hitting the Thors and not these Zerglings anymore.
Reach Beyond starting with 22 Stalkers. Yeah. Following it up with 25 Zealots. That's a pretty good hand. I'd say some tips are going to fly here.
Insta all-in, even gets the suited bonus.
You put the Zealots in the back. Interesting.
Not where I would have put them. Call me old school, but I put my melee units up front.
Maybe he was thinking with the auto blink to let the Stalkers tank their first round of shots, blink back, and then let the Zealots come in as a second wave.
Oh, I wonder.
I don't know.
That could be a Stalker specific strategy. That's an interesting idea. You get like the Stalkers up front. They take a little bit of damage, blink away, so your Zealots don't have to suffer that first volley from the opponent. Oh man, and then he wakes up with 21 wild cards. This table is not. Reports of Reach Beyond
not over yet.
Greatly exaggerated, I think. Oh dear, oh man.
Look at that wild card. Roll. Look at that wild card roll. 3 battle cruisers. 3 battle cruisers.
Siege got like 4 siege tanks and it is over. It's nothing. I mean, come on.
The game continues.
What a nice roll. I mean, but I think to your point, 20 plus random is pretty high. So you gotta like the odds of hitting a couple big, big time units when you get that.
In reach again,
Oh
waking
my
up with
God.
16 ravens. If he can bet this well and get some chips in the pot, I mean, no, not gonna happen this time.
No, yeah, I think Driss was finally like, okay, I can't call everything. I have to have at least a hand. And he's got, small one here, but reach like in those corruptors.
I mean, I would definitely play the Corruptors. It's a tougher play when you realize you get Medivacs as your second card, but at least here you can see it's a split pot by default. Nobody shoots up, nobody shoots down.
Yeah, and I think Reach will be, thankful to get out of that one alive. World peace.
Absolutely. After getting the Medivacs, you will take a tie all day long.
All right, why don't we take a quick look at our multi-table?
There we go. Yeah, looks like you got some heads-up action on a couple tables.
Lone Ranger, our rating champ, still looking strong in table 1.
On into heads up very shortly.
Yeah.
Bad at Games still hanging in with 202 chips at table 3.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think definitely interesting to see really coming into the final people at each table here. I think Driss action at table 2 again, and got a quick pot here. Driss really enjoying these Vikings. But can they take down these the fire the
Hellbats?
Hellbats. Why can't Hellions, Hellbats? It's all the same.
It happens.
Yeah, see, surprised by that.
Why don't we swap over to table 1 real fast? Sorry, not to interrupt, but just because we have 4 players still, we have Sympathy, who's still hanging on. He has, what do you guys think about this hand right here that we're just thrown into? Obviously, he has nothing that can shoot the Banshees. I guess this is just the end of Sympathy, right?
That should be the end of Sympathy. Yep, there's the surrender.
Yeah, Sympathy giving up the ghost, going out graciously in 4th. Oh, and here comes Arthas.
Arthas, we finally get to see Arthas swing the mighty sword.
I guess Frostmourne hungered today. All right, down to 3. Looking like I'm Pawn Ranger. I'm liking this hand, and he's agreeing and putting some money in with these Vikings.
Yeah, unfortunately, with only the 4 zealots in behind, though, it's not going to be able to do a whole lot. Those Marauders should make short work of the Vikings, but we're looking at the unit counts. They might be okay. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and that's the suited Marauder ghost count there.
With really, the +1/+1.
Yeah, you gotta like the way that they just tore through the Viking count. Yeah, but I think with Vikings, you really want to see definitely some air units out of your opponents to start, because second they land, they're a bit more vulnerable and they're a bit more. The DPS just feels a lot worse.
I found the best synergies with Vikings or any sort of strong ground, anti-ground unit. The Vikings are definitely going to do well enough in the air, and you want them to land late enough to where they can support the rest of your army and kind of mop up whatever's left over. You don't want them to be doing the bulk of your fighting on the ground.
Definitely agree with that. It's when you get them stuck in the air or when you have them in the air and taking out other players' air units, they feel really strong, especially in those high unit counts. All right, well, this is an interesting Baneling versus High Templar pot. Well, less interesting when one folds.
Well, he didn't really have anything to back up those Banelings with, so it made sense to go for the fold.
Yeah. For sure.
We have another pot here where it seems like whoever's going to be first to bet takes it down. However, Pawn Ranger just woke up with 4 carriers, so he might be willing to call a bet. Making the bet himself.
Yeah, I like that. You put some pressure, say, I got a hand. If you guys don't, get out of here. My pot. I want this.
It's such a key play when you get down to 4 and 3 handed, making those bets with mediocre hands. It's really hard to make a hand in Battle Poker, just like it's really hard to make a hand in Hold'em. Usually the first player into the pot's going to be able to take it down unless somebody happens to wake up with a hand. So it's not a bad play to make a lot of these cheap stabs at the pot when everybody checks to you. See if anybody's actually interested in the hand. Even if you have just a little bit of something to back it up with, you're golden.
For sure, and I think we saw Metalcore do the same there. Really take down some antes with a large infestor count, and is going to do the same with the large immortal count. I can't blame him. I'm in on this hand.
Yeah, I don't think. Fancy Hippo finds the call.
I think
26 Baneling's not going to be enough here.
I think Hippo has to, with the pop being the way it is, and it's gonna.
Hippo's gonna be fine. We're gonna get a split at least.
A survival. Yeah, Banshee's uncloak. Oh no, I don't think.
Oh no.
They might torture those poor mortals. They're gonna torture those poor mortals by picking them up and putting them down, do their, get their bicep curls in. But I don't think, definitely not enough damage to kill this unit.
No, not at all. We're gonna be seeing a split.
Yeah. All right. Well, still more to play for here. Yeah, too chunky. I agree with Fancy Hippo. Immortal's way too chunky for a couple phoenixes like that.
Fancy Hippo starting off with 6 ultras this time, already all in once again. Pone Ranger shouldn't be able to find the call with this Colossi, but once again, I think too soon.
Yeah. All right. So Hippo all in. This pot doesn't seem so cut and dry.
Pone Ranger's gonna be fine. He's got those mutas. Fancy Hippo can't hit air.
There you go. But can he?
He's not going to finish the ultras in time.
The issue, of course, is the ultras.
Yep.
Much like those immortals, very tanky units. These mutas here do small, light AoE damage. Basically, are tickling the ultras on the ground. I mean, look at those health bars. Watch them not change as they're being repeatedly attacked. Looks like maybe one ultra goes down. If that, no, one ultra goes under half health, I should say.
I mean, who in their right mind would want to tickle an Ultralisk, though? That just sounds scary.
Oh, no, yeah. Gotta watch out for those tusks. Are those tusks? They look like tusks, right?
They're giant claws, like blades.
Yeah, but I guess I always thought they were tusks because they kind of come out of their, they kind of look like they come out of their face almost.
Yeah.
Rather than their hands. I don't know.
Pone Ranger sticking around with his 2 DTs. Keeping Metalcore in check there.
You gotta like that. You always love, especially in these low count hands. You gotta like the idea that at least one DT might be good enough to split a pot. So I can't give it. If I have 2 DTs, I can't give that up with only 2 or 3 players. There's a pretty strong chance they can't kill them, and that's what we're seeing here. It's like another split pot.
Usually the play with DTs. Play them aggressively, try to get people to fold, and if they don't fold, well, you have the backup of, hey, I have DTs.
Well, yeah, maybe you'll need... Yeah, you have battle cruisers and queens. That's great. You can't beat me, though.
Hippo all in with maximum count 8 Colossi. Oh, and he's got 18 queens to back it up. This might be okay if he can get Metalcore to fold the ultras, but unfortunately they had already called.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I guess the ultras are going to get in here onto the Colossi, but looks like the ultras got kind of split and might not be able to mess with those queens as much as they should be.
Yeah, if the ultras went straight for the queens, I think we'd be looking at a different outcome here, but the queens actually pull it off with the ultraless split going over to the Archons and High Templar.
And I think the one thing you'll see with ultras, both in this game and in StarCraft, is they're just such a big unit that sometimes the AI gets a little wonky, and how they attack can be tough to control.
Definitely.
So it makes sense. In fact, it's almost better in a 3-way pot to have the ultra split because you're probably going to get a better spread of damage. So it's probably the best those ultras could have done. That said, ideally you would have gotten in on those queens if you could have there, but good positioning meant that there was no way the queens were ever going to be touched before it was already too late for the ultras.
Yeah, so putting the queens in the back definitely helped.
2 of our tables are done. Maybe we can take a look at our multi-table real fast. Is this the last table, or what is our other table? We are at
on our last table right now.
So this is
Oh,
it.
wow.
I think we're seeing. Was that a Bad at Games win on table 3?
Bad
I
at
see?
Games taking down table
Peep.
3. Congratulations.
Alright.
Get Bluff taking down table 4, doing well. Driss, no surprise, taking down table 2 after that gigantic lead that he had.
I think we're all expecting a Driss close out there, so good to see that. That we didn't miss a near miraculous comeback. But yeah, I think we can go back to table 1. It's our last action of the first phase of the preliminary rounds.
Lone Ranger on such a commanding lead right now.
Yeah, this is almost like that fight for second now. It seems Pone Ranger has Fancy Hippo all in. Is Pone Ranger going to be a benevolent god? And
Lone Ranger should be
no.
putting pressure on both of these players
Absolutely.
right now.
So what is
Even
now,
with
if you're
his mediocre
metalcore here?
hand.
If you're metalcore here, do you just fold and hope that Fancy Hippo, just get out of this hand, say Fancy Hippo lose, and I'm good? And it looks like what he did, even though he had a pretty solid hand.
I mean, it's not a bad play to play for second. The thing is that you already have more chips than Fancy Hippo, so if you're expecting Pone Ranger to be strong enough to take both players out, you might as well go ahead and go all in anyway, because you're guaranteed second if you both bust.
Yeah, and I think Metalcore is seeing the issue with that, with his play there.
Unfortunately, Fancy Hippo won the pot, so now he's in a rough spot.
Yeah, and in a rough spot. Although again, when you're in a rough spot, 18 DTs. That's exactly what I want to see.
Sometimes it just happens. You're like, man, I'm about to bust out. Ooh, look at that, DTs.
Oh, perfect. You can't ask for a better first card to wake up to. Yeah, it looks like Tempest versus Battlecruiser. I mean, Battlecruisers are great.
Takes him down. Unfortunately, with only 11 chips in the pot, he's only going to take home 33.
Yeah, unlucky for him.
Still working with half a bet, waking up with 9 zealots, not what you want to see when you're all in already.
Well, yet again, Hippo all in.
And we see no air units, so if it all goes in, Fancy Hippo's going to take it down. That's a pretty big size pot. We're going to be looking at about a 600 to 400 chip ratio here between Pone Ranger and Fancy Hippo going into heads up.
Yeah, Hippo's DT's sneaking around now, getting the job done. So GG Metalcore out at third.
So third place, very respectable, 6 points. I mean, you can't go wrong there. I'm guessing you're only going to need like 11 or 12 points to qualify, I would guess. So you're already, half of the way there.
For sure. I think third place, you're definitely setting yourself up to, you're not into the next round yet, but you're setting yourself up where another strong performance in round 2 is going to put you into the semis.
Absolutely. We have Fancy Hippo with a monster hand here with Queens and Battle Cruisers.
Oh my gosh. An all-in immediately. Fancy Hippo just getting the...
There's the surrender. Pone Ranger just not even wasting time.
Pone Ranger's like, alright, go next. GG, go next. That's too much. Oh, man.
And look at this comeback. Look at this comeback. Pone Ranger had that dominating lead earlier, and Fancy Hippo putting the pressure on right now.
Fancy Hippo all-ins him nearly blind. Really, again, feeling himself here, and he's got these Widow Mines to back him up.
Widow Mine's not the best, but if they get a good shot off, it's going to decimate these Stalkers. Unfortunately, they just didn't quite do enough.
I was about to say, there's no way these Adepts are getting through these Colossi.
Absolutely not.
I mean, I hate to harp on the fact that I'm a Terran player, but when you're a Terran player and your Protoss opponent has this Colossi, oh man, it feels really bad to run your any sort of bio units in there. It just feels...
We already have a rough matchup here. Fancy Hippo with Coast going into the Phoenix of Pone Ranger. Those EMPs are going to keep the Phoenix from being able to do anything except shoot air units.
And there are no air units, so that's going to be a major issue.
We have Zerglings and Ghosts against 2 Ultras. Can this Ghost snipe them down? The answer is yes.
And with that...
Fancy Hippo takes the first table.
Yeah, that's got to be it. What a turnaround for Fancy Hippo.
Wow, well played.
Really getting back into that game. taking down the gold and getting the win here at table 1.
All right.
Well, GG Fancy Hippo. I think we got. Yeah, we got our table up here with our names. All right. So
There we
here we see our final standings from each of the tables. Like you said, Fancy Hippo winning table 1. Driss really doing good work with that large stack, taking down table 2.
I do want to note that Driss was actually an alternate. He came into the tournament on short notice, and he came in and showed us why he maybe should have been picked in the first place.
Yeah, maybe he's got that proverbial chip on his shoulder. Really came in hot on table 2 and went out to a commanding lead and made short work of the rest of the competition there. But I gotta say, looking at table 3, look who's top.
Bad at games coming through. Caster's curse has been broken so far.
Well, it's good to see. Good to see Bad at Games there. And congrats to him. He's, really feels like he deserved one of these based on last time's performance. And also good to see the Goofman, who had a very good showing in the first Battle Poker League tournament.
Yeah, third place. Can't go wrong with your first tournament or your first table in the tournament. Definitely sets him up to have a good showing if he does even remotely well in the next table. So even a finish of 4th, maybe potentially 5th, he should be going on to the next round.
And last but certainly not least, table 4, looking like our name change friend Get Bluffed, taking down that one. So another tournament veteran.
And if I remember correctly, Get Bluffed ELO or MMR rather is actually close to around 1600 compared to a lot of the 1700, 1800, 1900s that we've been seeing as the entries in this tournament. He's doing really well against these seasoned veterans.
All right, good to see. So I think now we're in the waiting phase between rounds 1 and 2. So I think lobbies are being reformed as we speak. Getting the same groups together. I think we might have time now for a quick short break for us and for the viewers at home, and we'll be back shortly with phase 2 of the preliminaries.
Well, table 1 is starting right now.
All right, so table 1's starting now. I think this is the one we did see a nice dramatic finish here at the end of round 1 today, with Fancy Hippo taking it down over Pwn Ranger, and look at that, they get set next to each other to start game 2. You gotta love it.
One thing we really haven't talked about too much is having position on certain players. When you get to act after a certain player that you're worried about, like somebody that's playing really aggressively, somebody that seems to just have your number, it gives you that little bit of extra information to be able to act on before you have to decide what to do with your hand. So that may end up being pretty good for one of them, having position on the other.
No, for sure. And I think that, you always have your eyes on the players with the big stacks, the players who you know to be very strong. So being able to sit down table from them would be a nice advantage to have. But in this case, two-handed pot, got the Liberator Hydra comp here, really tearing through.
Liberators act the way they're supposed to. They rip stuff up. They do amazing amounts of DPS to ground units, and their splash damage in the air is unrivaled. Unfortunately, they don't always do exactly what they're supposed to do, so sometimes it can be a little bit of a gamble playing high Liberator counts.
Yeah, for sure. It looked like in that, got kind of lucky that heads-up fight that the Liberators went straight in and got the nice... circle. I guess you call it an AoE range, circle range, right to the opposing units.
We have another family pot here. Lots of stuff going on. Zorminter picks up a couple of DTs. Bago has a couple of carriers. Pwn Ranger with 4 carriers as well. We do want to go ahead and note for the viewers that bug that was mentioned. Normally, multiple players can't have the same unit type in the same hand. Unfortunately, there's a glitch right now with the observer mode that allows that to happen. That's why we're seeing multiple hands with carriers. That should be fixed in time for tomorrow's cast.
Yeah, actually, interesting to note that might add a little extra to these games today. So you're seeing this carrier heads up battle, and it's looking like some of the players are now also noting this. So looks like it might be something coming in, or something that these players are gonna have to get used to in the next couple games. All right. So looking like Vega waking up with the high Viking count here.
And Ms. Pooh with 5 carriers. That might get her in trouble if the Vikings come along.
Yeah, definitely looks like that could be an issue for Ms. Pooh, but it looks like we're seeing another family pot here. Until Metalcore goes and ruins the fun with the race. So looks like Metalcore last to act. Everybody in front of him checking. You race to 4. Is that more of like a kind of telling the table, are we here to play poker or are we here to like do nothing, or is that more trying to actually win a pot?
I think he's actually trying to win the pot here with his 9 Liberators. He may have just decided this is one where he wants to take it down no matter what. The problem with that is that this isn't really the time to make that sort of play. You're at a full table with 7 other players that can all wake up with a really big hand. And the antes are so small, they're really not worth just trying to take down for really... You're risking a lot for a little, kind of, is what I'm trying to say. Not a play I'm really a big fan of. Maybe he had a read and it just wasn't right this time around, but just not the time and place for that kind of play.
Yeah, I feel when you're playing this sort of 8-handed early on battle poker, you really have to think. There's action in front of you. Like I personally, when I play, I'm like, I can maybe read 1 or 2 people, but can I really read 7 at once? Any one of these 7 can call my raise.
You have to pay a lot of attention at the poker table. You can kind of tell the difference between the really good players and the players that are just there to gamble and have fun. The players that are there to just have fun are always fiddling around on their phones, watching TV at the poker table, talking. That's kind of, they're not paying attention to what the other players are doing when they don't have a hand in front of them.
No, for sure, and I think we're seeing. Yeah, obviously you can't get those sorts of physical tells on the online world of battle poker, but that's why before when we were talking through Tilt, thinking, why would you put anything in the chat box that kind of belied any sort of weakness?
Well, there are some players that are particularly good at manipulating their opponents. They can give away certain amounts of information, knowing how their opponents are going to react to that, and then take advantage of that by being a step ahead and knowing how their opponents are going to react to that information being given to them.
Yeah, I mean, so you're thinking there might even be that third level of the rock, paper, scissors, where it's like, I'm going to pretend to play rock so that you play paper so that I can play scissors. Mm-hmm. It's that next level of Yomi. I think we're seeing, classic DT pot split there.
Absolutely.
And,
looks like we might have an interesting hand here. Zormentor with 18 Phoenix, Sympathy with 17 Vikings, Reno with 23 Hydras, and Metalcore with 15 wild cards. All very playable hands as a first card. And it looks like they all come along for the ride.
Yeah, these are all some real hands. So we're going to see some big explosions to start this pot.
Unfortunate for the Banelings, they went straight for those Infestors. Most of them just popped without doing any kind of damage.
Yeah, bit of an unlucky look there. It's looking like so Metal Core's units down. Reno's out as well. This is a Sympathy Zormentor matchup.
Yeah, Zormentor's going to take it down as soon as those Vikings land.
No, Vikings, don't do it. Oh. Oh dear. One volley and it was over.
Yeah, those tanks, they do amazing amounts of damage to anything on the ground. They're just a little bit vulnerable, so you don't want to let melee units get near them, and you definitely want to keep the air units away.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so still, it's still early days in this table, but looking at maybe a potentially big hand here. Couple of Tempests at the table, a Thor, DT. And those are the hands that we're seeing a second card. Oh dear.
Those are going to be some
Mothership.
Cloak Tempests.
That's very interesting.
Mothership in
what's
front, the way it
here?
should be.
Oh no, poor. Unlucky
Yeah, that's a
Mothership
lot
with,
of anti-air. That's a lot of anti-air.
I guess that's the issue when you run into three other players. Is all of a sudden there's Thor's, Corruptors, more Tempests, etc. It's too much. And even Phoenix, these poor Ultras got nothing to do down here.
No, they're just getting swiped away at by the DPs. Oh, I'm sorry. They're on the same team as the DPs.
No.
They're all just chilling down
Hey,
there.
The Thors and the DTs are just hanging out.
I thought I saw chunks of the Ultra's HP going away.
Well, and nice.
There they go
nice
to the
pickup for
Tempest.
Reno.
Yeah.
Yeah, goodbye. And split pot as the DTs don't do much down there.
All right, we got another hand coming up here. Fancy Hippo with his 12 Banshees. We'll see how that plays out. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
at the
think-
second round with the 8 Archons.
Just looking at the units, looking like there's definitely you look at this hand, you think 12 Banshees, probably play that or not. Quick folds for Fancy Hippo, but maybe it's just these 8 Archons, or maybe that raised by Metalcore on his double-digit queen count is enough.
Yeah, he decides to let him go. Metalcore takes down the pot of the full table with nothing but a simple raise.
Yeah, maybe raising into the table isn't such a bad idea after all.
Well, it helps when nobody has a hand.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think my thought now is if anybody bets into Zormentor, you got to think 19 High Templars are calling anything.
they should be, yeah. If those 72 Banelings come along, they're going to have some rough time with all those storms. And we just check around all the way, okay.
Yeah, it's the full-on community pot.
Nobody really picks up much. Metalcore picks up 6 Tempests. Pwn Ranger with 3 carriers.
Looks like Zormentor kicking himself that he didn't put a bet in the first time, just raises immediately, even though with his 5 Brutal Lord edition.
And Metalcore with the click it back just re-raises him.
Yeah, you gotta like that look.
Well, those tanks are going to go down, unfortunately. Let's see if there's enough storm to deal with the Tempests.
That's a lot of storm, but the Tempests aren't doing a great job of splitting, so there might be enough.
It's very possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
We are starting to lose those High Templar, though. I think those
Back it
couple
up,
up front
back it
might
in.
pop, but we're not going to have
One
enough to deal with the
down.
ones in the back.
Do we have enough at least to keep the Broodlords alive to the end of the round?
As soon as they switch to the Broodlords, they're going to be doing that massive air damage.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be okay.
Oh, that was close.
That was
it
close.
Interesting to see just one volley taking out a Broodlord. That was crazy.
All right, that was a close one indeed. Do you want to take a look at the multi-table real fast and see how our games are progressing?
Yeah, let's see. All right, we got fortunate early victim on table 2 here. We got Scaro going down.
Didn't Scara go out first last game too?
I believe so, and I think.
Oh no.
I mean, and I'm no mathematician, but last place 2 games in a row, I think it means you're out of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm afraid
So-
so. 2 last places isn't going to get you too much as far as points go.
Yeah. So GG Scaro, thanks for joining us. Let's see what else we got going on. Table 3, the Goofman coming up in the rear here, and Balefire, who I think was out relatively early in round 1, looking to be the chip leader here in round 2.
Absolutely, and he looks like Ruark taking over table 4 right now with a pretty decent chip lead.
Yeah, you gotta like that.
Killa's still coming up in 3rd. Still plenty of poker to be played in game 2 here, but looking pretty good for him this time around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, still early days at all the tables. I'm thinking if you're still sitting with triple-digit chips, you're fine. Like,
And we just had an all-in at
you're
table
doing
3.
okay. Yeah, looks like Clash are all in at table 3. If we want to jump to that quickly. Clash are sitting on Archon muted comp against these Corruptor Fester.
Archon should take it down easily.
Yeah, you gotta like the way the Archons. The Archons really enjoy those clumped up air units there.
That versus biological splash is rough.
Yeah, for sure. Really, really won that easily, and now, yeah, as pointed out, Clasher sitting at the top of the chip stack now, and already back in it. 18 queens.
We have bad at
It
games
seems
with
to-
a good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it seems to be like a running theme is you double up with like a kind of close hand. Then the next hand you just get a monster. You just wake up with a monster every time.
And of course,
And
when you
bam,
bet it,
18
nobody
queens.
believes you, so you get 4 calls, and you're like, "Oh, beautiful! All this money."
Well, he's got 1 call here. In fact, he's got a raise from bad at games. That's a large carrier count.
Let's see. Now this is an interesting hand. All of those Zerglings, if he plays the carriers aggressively, are going to lock down all the energy from the infestors, keeping them from being able to use as many infested Terrans. Look at here. We're going to see a lot of fungal go off. And all those
Well,
infested Terrans are going to go after the Zerglings, giving the carriers a little bit of time to deal with them before they get right underneath.
That said, the queens are in. But I think the damage from these carriers might just be too much.
We're going to see a couple of these carriers close to going down. One up front just now exploding.
Yeah, you do still have all 18 queens. You got your
Looks like
suited
it,
upgrades
yeah.
here. Maybe if they can do some better
10
focus
seconds
firing.
left to fight. Nah, I think we're going to be seeing a split.
Just a split. That's too bad because these queens really are. I mean, unlucky. The queens probably would have tore through that at the end of the day, but couldn't get it done in the time limit. That said, interesting hands this time around. Got some large Viking counts. We got smaller battlecruiser counts. We got wild cards. This hand's got it all.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Clasher making an immediate raise to 44. Again, betting a little bit more than what the pot size is, so definitely an overbet with the battle cruisers. Balefire has the hand to beat it. I don't know if he's going to make the call, and he decides not to. With a raise of this size, I don't like calling those specialized units like oracles that can only hit, ground or air. I'd say this is a fold, but he's thinking about it.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think everyone else is out. You're sitting on kind of maybe it's just maybe the one thought here is he just raising because he has DTs? Because if so, I got the oracles. Maybe I can do it. But looks like Jam makes the discipline to lay down.
Well, besides Sylvanas, this hand is going to go to whoever decides to bet it first. Oliglum with the 5 Ravens. A decent start, but 5 Ravens aren't going to win you the hand. You're going to need a decent second card to back those Ravens up.
Yeah. Looking like a community pot there. Nobody really looking to push their mediocre first card. Really, kind of across the board mediocre second cards too, huh? With the exception of maybe Sylvanas again and bad at games.
Sylvanas only getting 8 High Templar is, again, just, it's kind of like the 5 Ravens. It's enough to do a little bit of damage. It's not going to win you the game. Paired with the tanks, I'm not a huge fan. The High Templar are going to be enough to defend you against, like, Banshees, Mutalisks, those clumped up air units that are, like, masses. But they're not going to be able to do enough to really protect the tanks otherwise.
Yeah, and I think Bad Games deciding, you know what, we're paying to play here. I got these carriers. If anybody else is serious, they can join me. But
Suited carriers are that, so he's got the +1/+1.
There you go. Yeah, suited carriers. This is going to be, I mean, it's a pretty reasonable hand. So I think pretty reasonable raise. It's one of those half bluffs in a way, right? Where it's like, I do have a good hand.
I wouldn't even call this a half bluff. 6 carriers is definitely enough to do some damage against a lot of hands. Unfortunately, those Archons are probably going to be enough to hold it down, especially with the Phoenix backing them up, just that little bit of extra pew going on. But, I mean, 6... Yeah. Ooh, well, as we see here, those carriers may not be doing enough.
Man,
or they may actually be doing enough.
I always get so surprised how much damage those interceptors do. Oh man, this is really coming down to the wire.
Yeah, those carriers are going to be able to pull it out just barely. Oh, wow.
Dang.
This is the power of the carrier, man. That's why they're S tier in our tier list.
Carrier busted unit. Write that down, kids. Wow. Yeah, I think darn's the only appropriate response to that.
Jam saying hi to Twitch chat.
Hi, Jam. You're enjoying the game. You'll hear me 5 minutes from now. But yeah, I think let's see what we have here. Jam. Well, speaking of which, Jam jamming his chips into the pot.
Well, with the 5 battle cruisers, that's definitely a reasonable open. Pretty good bet size, I'd say. Roughly a little bit like what, third pot, give or take.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good early raise. You got some units to back it up. You're seeing it. You know, maybe you're seeing now. If I'm playing at this table, everyone's been pretty playing with their cards close to the chest. I might be more inclined to put some money in, see if I can steal a pot or two.
Yeah, the antes are definitely getting high enough to where that's going to be worth it now. With the antes at 5 chips a player with an 8-player pot, that's 40 chips already in the middle of the pot before anybody even gets their first card dealt. So it's starting to be worth it to take a stab at these pots, take down the antes, build up your stack. Just these antes, just taking them a little bit at a time.
Absolutely, and it looks like, I mean, James got to like their position now. Sylvanas calls and we have a pot.
Here come the mines. How many of them are going to get their shots off?
I don't think many, if
not enough. Not enough. Those Colossi are just doing too much.
Yeah, I mean, those mines running straight into Colossi is a real bad feeling.
Mines not only are so good against like mass air units. When they all clump up and start targeting just a couple mines at a time and they have enough time to burrow, all those air units just go kaboom and disappear. But it's so difficult to get that specific setup with the mines.
So we have some updates from Table 1. We have our first elimination. Reno is out, and maybe we can take a look at our multi-table real fast, actually, just to see if there's been any other eliminations.
Oh,
Get Bluffed is out.
Well,
from first to worst.
You have to think that 11, so that's what, 11 points total?
That's
might
11
still
points.
Be enough. Might still be enough to qualify, but, you know, probably you're automatically in with even like a 7th or 6th. So Get Bluffed, unfortunate there.
No, I feel like it depends on who wins that game. Because he got the win on the first game, right? So he has 10 points.
For sure.
So it almost comes down to, you know, who wins. If it's someone else, if someone who did well in the first table also wins first, then that might not bode so well for him. It all just depends on everyone else, really. It's an interesting situation.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it is a bit of an unfortunate situation for Gipluff to be riding so high to kind of crash there. Yeah, looking over at table one, we're seeing, yeah, like you said, we have our first elimination of Reno, and yeah, jumping right in, we got a very large lead for Metalcore there. And with Metalcore sitting at 340, you gotta think
Metalcore with
they'll be
a
able to start.
third of the money in the game right now. Especially with the antes only at 8, he can definitely start pushing people around, start threatening their tournament life with his huge stack. Even if he goes in with Pone Ranger and loses, he's only losing half of his chips, so he's definitely got a fighting chance to just put pressure on people right now.
Yeah, and you gotta think with Metalcore, when you're sitting at such a large stack, you can kind of use the psychology of the tournament setting against other players. 7 people left. You probably need, a lot of players probably thinking, oh, I just have to come in 5th or 6th, or especially if I had a strong first round. If I'm a Fancy Hippo or Pawn Ranger, I don't need to win this game. I just need to survive for one or two more players. So
That's absolutely right.
And you're throwing your chips around, you think maybe you can win some pots, and here, as being pointed out by the observer, Metalcore does exactly that and runs into this pot with Fancy Hippo. Unfortunately, Metalcore hard countered.
Oh man.
Easy pickup for these DTs. The Vikings are grounded, which obviously you don't want to see, but it's irrelevant the speed at which the DTs are clearing these out. That was tough to watch. Fancy Hippo, like I said, maybe Metalcore thought, I can use the psychology of the tournament setting against Fancy Hippo, but Fancy Hippo said, not when I have this hand.
Not that hand, no.
And now I'm doubled up and right back in it, and Metalcore kind of has to lick his wounds there.
Still not a whole lot of wound licking to do when you still have a quarter of the money in the game.
For sure. It's just more of an egg on my face sort of moment than anything else.
Yeah, like I said, it happens when you're putting pressure on players. You're going to be playing some more marginal hands that just can't stand up to somebody that's decided to just sit back and wait for the perfect hand to pre-shove on you. Sometimes you pick up enough of a hand that you're like, well, you know what? Maybe they're just bluffing me, and I want to call and see for sure. Obviously, not the case in that hand, but
oh man! So we got
the Ravens.
Rematch of our heads up last game, and that is a near full fleet of Ravens. That is far too many Ravens.
Is there such a thing as too many Ravens, though?
I mean, for Fancy Hippo, I'd say yes. For Fancy Hippo, I would say, yeah, that's too many Ravens.
That's too many Ravens. 20 Ravens is too many Ravens.
And we see why. Pawn Ranger picks up a pretty big pot between himself and Fancy Hippo. And now Pawn Ranger is even at the chip lead.
Fancy Hippo saying he was considering going all in with that hand. So glad that he decided to save some chips.
For sure, for sure.
Ms. Pooh waking up with the 20 Ravens once again. This is going to be an interesting hand.
Yeah,
Min raising to 20.
Yeah, I think Ms. Pooh, sitting at the, like I said before, I start to feel a little danger when I'm sitting at double-digit chip numbers. So when I'm looking at my hand and I'm seeing 20 Ravens, I'm thinking, how can I milk this pot? I need this one.
Well, unfortunately, nobody else with a hand to be milked with, so everybody folds around to Ms. Pooh's min raise.
Yeah, good point. I think the min raise is all it took to take down the pot. Much probably to Ms. Pooh's chagrin, that would have been an easy way to make some money with that Raven count.
Well, you got to remember with the antes being so big, there's already 70 chips to take down when you take down the antes. With Ms. Pooh's stack so short, it was almost better for her to just take the antes down than to risk having the Ravens maybe blow themselves up or run out of shots and end up having to split the pot with somebody else, or even worse, just end up losing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Bago here waking up with DTs and then following it up with a decent carrier mount. Kind of like that going in. Gets the call out
Carrier
of Pawn Ranger.
DT. Oh, there go the
For the
DTs, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ravens. Ravens are good at that.
Ravens blowing themselves up, unfortunately, but it's not going to be enough. The Ravens still survive and take out the carriers handily.
Wow.
Pone
Yeah,
Ranger
you
on
hate to see
top.
it. Raven
Oh, wow.
straight up double countering that comp, taking out, becoming the DT revealer as well as the easy hunter seeker missiles into the carriers for a quick win. All right, we got Sympathy all in here.
11 Broodlords, not going to be happy with the 14 Liberators Bago has if he decides to call.
Yeah, it'll be
There it is.
yeah, Bagel's in. Pawn Ranger also considering a call, but folding.
Ghosts up front.
Oh, nice ghost pickup.
I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we're going to see the end of Sympathy here.
Yeah, unfortunately, 12 ghosts, not enough for this. Not enough anti-air for this just straight up air, monstrous air army coming at him. And oh no, oh these liberators, oh ghosts, no.
Oh. Sympathy just straight up
all...
leaving the game. Frustrating. I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I mean, Sympathy was all in. To Bago. Bago was also all in, but I think had Sympathy covered in chips.
Yep.
So Sympathy out in 7th. And yeah, Zormenter now sitting on that low stack. Probably has to make a move now. Although, not exactly the hand to do so.
No, you don't want to have 8 Reapers when you're down to your last 5 chips.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a hand.
Earlier we were saying like 8 carriers or 8 DT is pretty good when you're at your last 5 chips. 8 Reapers, not really where you want to be. And it looks like Zormenter even just says, I'd rather not even play this hand. I'd rather just try again.
He gets rewarded and picks up 3 battle cruisers. Unfortunately, Metalcore has 7 Tempests. So not going to be a successful play for Zormenter if Metalcore comes along, which he did with a raise.
Yeah, you like Metalcore opening on that race there, knowing Zormenter's all in behind him, and just trying to say, "All right, I got this, guys. No, everybody clear out. I'll take this clown down and give me your anties while I'm at it."
Well, Fancy Hippo decides to come along as well, but I don't think he's going to be sticking around with the Zerglings he just drew.
No, I don't think so. And I mean, Metalcore probably gonna bet the pot here with a nice pickup of queens. Oh man, that's too many queens. Yeah, this is.
And Zormenter gets the bad news.
Yeah, Zormenter with the quick GG. Not even really gonna see the writing on the wall with this hand.
Yeah.
Running into this. This is a critical mass of queens.
Sometimes that's the worst feeling, like when you first look up and you see the army tab and you're just like, man, I just went all in and I have absolutely no chance. Like it's better to at least have a sweat. You want to have a sweat. You want to have a match where you're like down to the wire, nail biter. Maybe I can win this and get away with half the pot. That time, just no.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've seen a little bit of action here. I'm sure there's probably been a couple other eliminations. Why don't we go over to our multi-table and see how the tournament's been progressing?
All right. So table 2, Driss, game 1 winner at table 2 out in 7th. So that could make for some openings. Maybe it's for the other players to potentially pull ahead and try to push Driss down the table. Maybe even knock him out of the tournament.
I think we have a pretty big story here in Table 1 with Pone Ranger still on top. I mean, we didn't really talk about that much while we were over there, but didn't he win Table? No, he took second in Table 1, and he's still leading for Table 2.
Yeah, for sure. So Pone Ranger definitely, you gotta think second place game 1, game 2, chip lead. You gotta like your odds of advancing there. Table 3, the Goofman out first.
Oh no, not
tough to
Goofy.
see. Strong player. Yeah. So
Also, looks
bit of
like
an
Bada
unfortunate
just
there.
won a lot of Bada moving up. He was in a big hand there.
Bada
Table
moving up, and also at table 1, I think Fancy Hippo out in 5th, which is an interesting development. I think Fancy Hippo out in 5th and winning the first game, very likely on to round 2.
Absolutely. With
those
14
results.
points, I think he's going to be able to make it through without too much problem.
But it does leave our other players the opportunity to pick up those bonus points for second and first. So
Why don't we hop
see how
back in
that
table
goes there.
3, I feel like, because there's still a lot of players in there. A lot of poker to be played in this table. Let's see what happens here.
Bada Games
Sure, we
just
got
picked up
TLJ.
another pot.
Yeah, another pot for Bad Games. TLJ sitting at the short stack here probably has to make a move pretty
Well,
soon.
He's
Although
not going to want to make it with the 6 Hellions.
no, that's an unfortunate pickup for TLJ. Although
So, if you look at Bada Games and Jam together, the two of them have 2/3 of the money that's available in this game. They're really putting the squeeze to everybody else, saying, like, look, we're running this table. You guys have one move of all in or fold.
yeah, and I think and again, this is sometimes when I think about like tournament play and tournament and the way you might change your strategy, if you are able to like kind of create that sort of alliance or game state with one other player on the table to squeeze out the rest of the players, it might be a good way to just start making other players drop out and get knocked out.
There's sort of an unwritten
Yeah.
rule in tournament poker. When you're a big stack, you don't mess with the other big stacks. You just kind of feed on the smaller stacks that are getting pressed for the tournament life. That way you don't have to worry about busting out even if you go all in. When you're going all in and you have somebody covered, you're still going to have a stack left even if you lose the hand.
For sure, and it looks like that's kind of playing out here, and with TLJ all in now, Olem and Balefire both on pretty low, under 50 stacks.
I mean, unfortunately, both of TLJ's opponents have him crushed here. Jam with the DTs, Bada Games with the 25 Ghosts. No matter what, he's not going to survive this hand.
Yeah. Tough to see. Wow, the DT's gone in seconds.
Those Ghosts, man, they're good units.
Ghost
And
good
GG
unit.
to TLJ.
GG TLJ out at 7th at this table. Another pot pickup for Bad Games, who's now really starting to pull away with the chips yet again.
Hmm.
Alright, let's see. This hand coming up, we got. I don't know, maybe nothing interesting, but I do like that 16 wild card to pick up for Olem.
16 wild cards, 20 infestors, 16 Vikings. We got a little bit of a hand brewing here. Even the 11 oracles could be an interesting play.
Yeah, well, it looks like these are all playable hands, but nothing too major. It looks like Clashers pushed in though, liking those 20
infestors.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to take it down unless Jam decides to call with the Vikings. He's not going to be thrilled calling with the Vikings, just looking at the first card matchup. Oh no, and Jam picks up 12 Void Rays. That's a disaster for Clasher.
Yeah, especially as Clasher kind of whiffed on those on the Hellions. That said, Olem's all in. Now Clasher's all in. So you got 2 all in. And Jam's Void Ray count might just be too much.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a win for Jam.
Yeah, Widowmine's all dead. Infestors are starting to feel the wrath of a fully charged Void Ray.
And Ollie calls GG already. I think it's just a matter of time until Clasher gets run out.
Yep. So it looks like Ollie out in 6th, Clasher out in 5th. And Jam now able to make a run at Bad Games. So gonna be an interesting 1-2 at the top. It's funny, like you said, Bad Games and Jam were the 2 big stacks, and then they both fed on the smaller stacks and then successive hands in order to boost up their chip counts. So there it is. now Balefire still hanging on by a thread, and
Oh, he's not going to be hanging on with his 6 mainlings, unfortunately.
Yeah, not really getting the hand he needs. Jam with the quick shout out to the kill animation, which I have to agree is a very nice touch. Yeah, I mean Sylvanas pushing all in with even with the third stack, really enjoying that battlecruiser count.
Yeah, the 15 Ravens are going to be interesting. That's right at the point where I see them having trouble sometimes with the capital ships. So it depends on how the battle cruisers spread out. Oh my goodness, what a pickup all around.
This is a crazy hand. So all three top stacks in to try to take out Sylvanas. Balefire ducks out and, fingers crossed, with his fingers crossed that Sylvanas goes out here and he's able to sneak into third. Sylvanas sitting on basically double capital ships here. And it might be enough.
Those Ravens are slowly going down. I don't think they're going to be able to get a second shot off.
Yeah, you're right. I think good call by you on just about how many Ravens, the critical mass of Ravens needed.
That's almost a 500 chip pot going to Sylvanas.
Ooh, Sylvanas takes the easy chip lead from that.
And as you were talking about earlier, you win a big pot like that, and then all of a sudden Sylvanas wakes up with 25 queens.
And not only that, Balefire forced to be all in here.
Oh no!
Nobody calls the raise.
Okay. That one Viking is going to be enough to save Sylvanas. I was going to say between 14 Banshees and 4 Oracles, they might be able to do a little bit of damage to these queens.
I mean, the Oracles just got popped.
Oh, can they kill the Viking? No, it's not going to happen.
No. And the thing with the Banshees is they do become uncloaked mid-fight.
Right. They only cloak for the first 15 seconds of the fight, roughly.
So there is an opportunity now for the queens to get some damage in. Is it enough? Yeah, it's looking like they're going to get them.
The queens are going to take this down, yeah. Good game from Balefire, taking 4th place.
Yeah, good game, Balefire. Down to our final 3 here at Table 3. This has been a real up and down table. It's pretty fast moving, the action here. And it's just getting more and more aggressive.
So why don't we take a quick look at our multi-table screen real fast? We have had a lot of development.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sure.
Metalcore and Corn Ranger all in at table 1.
Yeah, can we go to table 1 real quick? It looks like both players all in. This could be the pot that decides it. It's a carrier fight.
Oh, carrier versus carrier. Oh, you hate to see it.
And it looks like Pawn Ranger gets through. I think.
Let's see how much of a rebate he gets. Only 44. That's basically game over. Metalcore has a bet in the third.
I think we can mostly call this one, as much as we like to say that all you need is a chip and a chair. Usually, you need at least more than that. More than that.
Chip and a chair and a good card. A
chip, a chair, and then also an incredible amount of luck. All right, so looking like, I mean, I don't want to say it yet, so maybe we go to another table and come back later to see who wins table 1, but looking like that might be wrapped up. Table 4 down to 3 as well. Looks like Vendettius, Ruark, and Rokus. An interesting trio there. I think I feel like those were all not really names we even saw in round 1 on table 4. So maybe we're going to see some pretty close standings at the end here for who's advancing out of table 4.
Quite possibly. I'm looking at our scorecard right now, and the first 4 people out all finished at 11, 10, 9, and 6 points respectively. So the people that are still in, there's still some points to be made. They still have a shot at making it into the top 4 here.
Yeah, those are all relatively lower score counts, and I think we do have it all in at table 4 if we want to jump there. I think it's already over, and that's Rokus out at third. And we're down to the heads up between Vendettius and Ruark. So let's see. Vendettius looks like he's got about 3-1 chip lead.
Give or take.
And wakes up with 4 battle cruisers to to get this game going.
And the 21 mutas, the mutas might be gone by the mines here. Oh no, he doesn't even let it fight out.
Yeah, Ruark instantly saw the writing on the wall with that. And now Vendettius has a commanding chip lead here.
It's going to be about 9-1. Ruark only sitting on about 3 bets. Decides to go all in and takes it down this time.
I think good call, both players. Ruark had an easy hand to go all in with that low of a stack, and Vendettius did not have a hand that could fight an opponent's hand that was all in.
Ruark is going to hate that first raise that he made here. Getting those Reapers is just not enough to really continue with the hand. He invested half of his stack in that hand.
Yeah.
Now going all in with the 10 Banshees. This might be enough to double up those if the Banshees can do enough damage to the Marines.
Oh my god, great Hellion splitting. I like
that. It's gonna come down to how many Marines are left alive when they uncloak.
Oh.
And the Carnage. No, not enough.
The Marines are dead.
Marines are dead. Yeah. Ruark doubles up.
Ruark got it. Vendettius called out, punished for his hubris, early GG, and he didn't get it. It's one of the most satisfying things when you're playing a game and your opponent says GG, sure that they've won, and you get to kind of laugh at them as you win.
Nope. Like, not yet,
no,
buddy.
my friend. I am the one who says GG.
Interesting hand here. Let's see how the wild cards rolled out. Lots of anti-air by Vendettius.
I was gonna say, it feels like the wild cards didn't exactly roll the way you would hope.
But they're doing plenty of damage here. Plenty of damage.
But there's definitely enough of them. I think there were, and looking at the carrier count, I think 2 of them might have rolled in the carriers.
I think so, yeah.
That kind of added to that. So that kind of fooled me because I thought, those are the 4 carriers. But then I was looking at it again, there's actually about 6 there. So those are good rolls.
Looking at quickly at table 1, looks like Metalcore might be taking a quick comeback on Pwn Ranger. I remember we were kind of implying that game was over, but
this is why we don't.
Oh goodness!
This is why we don't say GG. Yeah, Pwn Ranger down to 1 Oracle here, which is actually gonna help him split this pot. So maybe not as much of a
one Oracle from the wild card.
I enjoy the insult, keeping it PG, keeping it PG for the stream. Yeah, so maybe not as much of a comeback as we suspected. Not sure how much of this pot goes back to Metalcore. Yeah, it looks like Metalcore still got about 3-1. But Pwn Ranger with the nice pickup of battle cruisers can take the antes pretty simply. And again,
ante's pretty huge in this game, looking like 68 a player. I mean, that leaves Pwn Ranger with just about 5 bets, so I mean, it's a do or die time for him.
It's about half and half, the chip count now.
Yeah. Stealing those antes when they get this big is such a big part of your heads-up game. You have to be willing to sometimes make raises with nothing, both on the fact that you might wake up with a good second card, and on the fact that your opponent might just fold to you.
That said, these lurkers are actually devastating to Pwn Ranger's army here. Just crushing through that bio. There it is.
And that's it. Metalcore takes down.
It didn't even register to me that Metalcore did actually have the chip lead going in because it was flying so fast, the chips there. That is actually just game. Metalcore taking down the table 1.
Good game, well played.
Good game.
So a quick point update. Table 1, Pwn Ranger is in first place with 18 points.
Yes, we actually do have the final scores for table 1. I guess that's what you're reading right now.
That is. We have Metalcore and Fancy Hippo both tied for second in 14 points, and then Miss Pooh coming in 4th place with 8 points. We also have the results for Table 3. Bad at Games is in first place with 16 points. Jam and Sylvanas have tied for second with 13, and TLJ is in fourth place with 10.
Nice, nice. So I think we have table 1 and 3 complete. Maybe we can jump over to table 4 to see how our heads up is going. It's looking like Vendettius and Ruark are still going at it.
Looks like the combat's going off over on the side of the screen here.
Well,
Chasing down the left of the
did get
unit.
Well, that's a classic run away from the Reaper, and you have to micro the Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ruark still got a heavy chip lead here.
Unfortunately, not going to be able to win this hand.
No, this isn't the hand for Ruark. The air units are going to be a little too hard to hit for his.
Shooting up, a useful skill to have.
Oh, jeez.
There's a little throwback for the Brood War players that remember Idra.
Absolutely. Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's about half and half now. This is an opportunity for a big hand to take place.
I just wanted to point out this is actually a very consequential game right here because Ruark got fourth place and Vendittius got last in the first game. So
Vendittius is probably really, yeah. I actually noticed in the chat Vendittius asking Ruark about his placement. I think, yeah, probably Vendittius is thinking, last place. I need to win here, really get my hands on those bonus points. Oh, that's the Ghost just. Ghost just cleaning up the Archons.
I hope I'm doing the math right, but I believe if Vendettius wins, he goes through to the next round. If he gets second place, he is out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks like I would say, yeah, whoever wins here moves on to the second round. And
Ruark, I believe, is going to move on regardless, but Vendettius is definitely on the chopping block. Because Ruark with 8 points would still end up with 12.
You're right.
Oh, poor Vendettius running into the cloaked Banshees. Too much damage done to the Thors before they can start shooting up.
Well, he's still got.
Vendettius did have.
He's still got a decent chip stack. It's not amazing. He's still got to make a play very soon, but he's got about 5-6 bets left.
Yep, and I think Vendettius was trying to take that opportunity to take down this table, but couldn't do it. Now maybe has a chance though with these 6 Ravens.
Let's see how much damage those Ravens can do before they die.
Oh, the Stalkers though.
The tanks are just too much to be able to deal with those locusts from the Swarmos.
Honestly, the Ravens ran into a pretty tanky comp here.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the damage out that they needed to. Got shot down by the Stalkers, and now Ruark's units are cleaning it up and taking down the table. GG Ruark. Unlucky for Vendettius. Really needed that. Needed the chips to fall his way, but couldn't get them in the last couple hands. So GG Vendettius, great play. Almost made the big comeback to make round 2 from going out.
It was very close. It was very close.
All right, so I think is there still one table open currently, or
we should still be looking at table 2?
So maybe we can make a quick transfer here to table 2. The last table still going on. We got Kira, Frosticles, and Clockwork still alive. And it looks like Frosticles is speaking softly and carrying a big stack. At least in this hand. Oh boy. That said, Clockwork made short work of Frosticles' units.
Clockwork picking up a big chip stack, taking him back to second place. I'm sorry, first place. He's actually out chipping Kira just by a little bit.
So we got some table talk about who needs to finish where in order to advance to the next round.
Yeah, there's still plenty of poker to be played. I'm looking at this table. Reach and Driss have both finished, and they are both at 12 points currently in the lead. Rollins is done with 5 points, and Scaro, unfortunately, busting out the first time, and both tables only with 2 points.
Right. So you think that you'd think that Scaro having 2 is actually going to make it harder for everybody else, right? A player who finishes so low will just naturally raise the scores of the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
Oh man, here come the Thor anti-airs. They're just really tearing through the Phoenix. Nice pickup for Clockwork.
Gotta love that splash damage. Clockwork now with over 2/3 of the money in the game. It should be easy for him to close out Kieran Frosticles, but we'll see. Frosticles has this nasty habit of hanging around and making a comeback. I can tell you from experience, he's got the ability to make this comeback.
Yeah, you'd think being so out chipped it'd be tough for somebody like him, but maybe he's got the other players right where he wants them. Yeah, it's a lot of immortals for Kira here, although she might be nervous that none of her units shoot up.
All right, we have another hand here. 16 Banshees for Frosticles, 24 Marauders for Clockwork, only 2 Archons for Kira, and Zerg 3/3 in play, so nobody getting anything from the upgrades. Frosticles makes a play with the Banshees. I think it's a great play in these shorthanded tables. Clockwork makes the call. He ends up drawing 15 Cyclones. Frosticles picks up a Mothership, which isn't really going to help him out much.
Yeah, I mean, cloaking your already cloaked units is not exactly necessary.
Yeah, the Mothership ended up not buying any extra time. However, I think the Banshees have had enough time to kill most of the Cyclones that are going to be able to finish up these Marauders pretty easily.
That's a lot of Banshees. Yeah, you're just only seeing like 2 or 3 Banshees at a time in competitive.
Yeah.
So you don't get a sense of how much damage 16 can do.
They rip stuff up very quickly.
It looks kind of like that. Yeah, the double cloak, as Clockwork points out. Not only are you cloaked, but you're cloaked.
So when your cloak runs out, you still have a little side of cloak. Clockwork opening up with 6 carriers, 18 Widowmines for Frosticles, only 10 Stalkers for Kira. I imagine Kira's going to lay it down. Clockwork deciding to make the raise.
Yeah, I think Clockwork on the button with the re-raise. You kind of, if you're Frosticles, you're like, what am I getting into here?
You have the hand with Clockwork's position. Like, it's not just that you're raising in last position. You have a hand to back it up. Frosticles making, I think, an okay play with the mines. Obviously, in this situation, it's not going to work out. But I think playing in the 3-handed table, getting re-raised with the mines, it's one of those situations where you want to call sometimes and fold sometimes. And if this time the little randomizer in your brain says call, I'm okay with it.
Unfortunately, ran into just maybe the worst possible position comp with the swap side carrier.
Like I said, this time it just didn't work out.
Realistically, it was pretty close. It was surprisingly close. I think the mine damage took out a lot of the interceptors, really slowing down the DPS of the carriers there. That said, it wasn't enough to get him through. So GG Frosticles, congrats, 3rd place.
So we have close to a 4-1 chip advantage for Clockwork. Kira instantly goes all in with the 4 battle cruisers. Let's see what Clockwork does. Decides to call, doesn't pick anything up really for his second card. It's going to basically be 11 Cyclones against 4 battle cruisers.
He at least gets his Cyclone suited up with the Hellbats.
True. That extra 1/1 may be the difference here. 2 battle cruisers finally going down.
Surprisingly, yes, it's looking like the 4 Cyclones might be able to get the kill.
Oh, this is going to be close. 2 Cyclones left. They do it.
There it is.
There it is. Clockwork takes down table number 2.
Congrats, Clockwork. Really,
GG, well played.
Really edge of the seat stuff there to take down the table, but well done. And I think that's our final table for the night. So let's see if we can get one more view. I think we've moved on from our table view onto now our standings. Let's see where we stand now. Looks like, let's do a quick breakdown here, Bati. Looks like we got Pawn Ranger, we got Kane, we got Fancy Hippo, and we got Miss Pooh, top 4 in table 1.
Oh, we have a situation on table 2.
Table
4
2.
players all tied for second.
I think so. Let's skip table 2 for now, and congratulate our winners on 3 and 4, and then we can go back to see what the table 2 situation. So table 3, the chosen one himself, Bad at Games, coming in hot with that first place finish on table 3. Congrats, Bad at Games. Jan Sylvanas and TLJ also advancing. Congrats to all 4 of you. Unlucky for the Goofman and Olem crashing out in tied 5th. And then
I think we should cut to a quick break and actually sort this out because we haven't even finished updating one of the tables.
Sure. Sounds good. We'll sort out table 4 and then we'll see how we're going to handle this 4-man tie in table 2 right after this short break.
All right. So I think we are back to discuss our current situation with the tiebreaker that we have. I think you can just go to the semifinals table. So I updated it to kind of show the situation. We actually have a 3-person tiebreak, and it's we kind of fudged it together to make it so you could see on the semifinals. But we have a 3-way tiebreak between Frosticles, Drists, and Kira. So I think we are going to attempt to do a tiebreaker. Also who else? Reach. Sorry.
Reach. It is a 4-way, actually, not 3-way.
It's 4 people tied for 3 slots. So that said, it appears we are unable to get all 4 players currently. So due to that, the plan is to instead have this tie break before the semifinals start tomorrow. Therefore, we'll be on a bit earlier tomorrow with these 4 players running a game where the player who is out first will be out of the tournament, and the remaining 3 will advance to the semis.
Yeah, so a little ambiguity on the semifinal tables right now, actually, but they will get ironed out.
Right. So I think for that, so that means that's all the games in action we have for tonight. Obviously, very exciting and very close action, especially at table 2 with this 4-team tiebreaker. Or should I say 4-player tiebreaker? So thank you all for joining, and thank you for watching our stream tonight. This is the Battle Poker League Season 1 tournament. This is Toffee Man signing off for Bati, Concordia, Skelly Jelly, William, and the rest of the production team. Thank you for joining our stream.
We appreciate it. We'll see you all tomorrow night, same time.
Have a good night, everyone.